Ow! Oh, hey. Nice to meet you. You're gonna be gone quite soon here, sir. And I'll see you later. Good job. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Borderlands 4 build video. Today we've got ourselves a Rafa build that will get you prepared to take on Bloomreaper, hopefully in the coming days here. So this build is basically just an absolute nuking machine. We're gonna take advantage of the Dancer class mod, which I was gifted this beautiful class mod after farming for hours on end. It took me 85 runs to even see a single Dancer, let alone, I mean, it was 85 runs before I saw a single class mod. I was losing my mind. My chair spawned something before the game did for me. You'd have to have been there and stream to see it, but it was... Regardless, this build's awesome. We're going to be taking advantage of the Dancer. We're going to also have +5 into Temerario. If you don't have +5 into Temerario, this is still going to work, but you're obviously not going to do as much damage. With that being said, let's get right into the build here. So we're going to start in the red tree where we have 28 points, and then we have 21 points into the blue tree. At the top here, we're going to put 5 points into Sitiar for increased gun damage. We're going to put only 4 points into Deft Hands for 16% fire rate. And we're going to put 5 points into Yerga for the critical hits restoring action skill duration. This cooldown is every 4 seconds. But with this build, honestly, as long as you're fighting enemies, you're going to have your cooldown up at all times. It's super awesome. We're going to take the Augment Bullet Buddy Deluxe so we can activate it a second time and have infinite ammo. This is going to be the juice for nuking bosses. I've gotten upwards of 100 million damage, so unless Bloomreaper has that big of a health pool, you're going down, buddy. This build also does do really well at taking out vile enemies, which is going to be a key component in the Bloomreaper fight, as it does have a vile shield before we get to the flesh health bar, which is another good thing about Bullet Buddy Deluxe. We get bonus incendiary damage based on how full the gun is. Next, in the third one, we're going to put 2 points into Resiliencia just for a little bit of DR to help us have a little bit of survivability in this build so we're not a walking glass cannon. Now, I've been testing this build out different ways. At first, I went down the right tree here for splash damage to help out with those vile enemies, but after getting this +5 Temerario, you don't really need it, honestly. The weaponry is going to be more important to taking out the vile shields, so we're not going to go anywhere down the right tree. We're going to go down the left tree instead here and build a little bit into Ricochet. So if you want to bring some Jacob's weapons along for this build, you're going to absolutely cook with this. We're going to go 5 points into Asymmetric Warfare for indirect projectiles gaining increased damage. And we're going to put 5 points into Aerith Spark for a little bit more bonus incendiary damage from our indirect projectiles. We're also going to put 1 point into Hostile Acquisition to give us some lifesteal to those indirect projectiles, which is going to play a nice part in keeping us alive as well. And then we're going to put 1 point into Lateral Planking, so our indirect projectiles gain a chance to ricochet. Then we're going to finish it off by taking the Capstone Double Auto Shot. I really enjoy this Capstone because it gives us shotguns that deal increased damage and have an increased pellet count, but those also give us a chance to ricochet off targets, building more into this tree as well. And then on the right side, as you can see, we have our 5 points into Temerario and 1 point into Saltado. Now let's move over to the blue tree here, where we're going to put 5 points into Las Yaras for regenerating ammo while Overdrive is active. We're going to put 5 points into the Thrill, gaining another one from our class mod to give us increased fire rate and increased fire rate while Overdrive is active. Next, we're going to put 5 points into Al Centro so we can combat those 5 points into Temerario, taking away our gun handling. And then by the end of it, once that stacks up to max with Temerario, the Al Centro is going to overtake it, giving us some insane gun handling. Next, we're going to put 5 points into Brain Dump to increase our critical hit chance with guns while Overdrive is active, to build more into Yerga so we can keep our action skill up longer. And we're also going to put our final point into La Garza for more gun handling and action skill handling while Overdrive is active. So the main portion of this build is just getting our damage up. We're not going to be worrying about the gun handling that comes from Temerario. And then we're just going to have our shotguns be dealing a lot of ricochets. And if, like I said, if you're rocking those Jacob's weapons, you're going to be dealing more ricochets, burning enemies off of those ricochets. It's going to be a grand old time. Now let's move into the weapons here. My go-to weapon for bossing has been the bod with sticky mags. This thing just absolutely cooks. You throw Bullet Buddy Deluxe on, and the explosions, we're getting upwards of 1,000,000 damage per explosion. So that's where we're getting the 100 mil damage out of it. If you don't have that one, another really, really good one that's become a quick favorite of mine has been the Queen's Rest. The slutty, throbbing Queen's Rest at that. I have this one with Jacobs on it, so it builds into this build even more with having the Jacobs license accessory on it, but it also has 17% Torg sticky damage on the explosion, which is absolutely juiced, and I love it. Some more mobbing weapons for Vile enemies. You could go with a Wombo combo. Wombo combos are elite for Vile enemies. Just watch out you're not splash damaging yourself into oblivion and going down all the time, so be careful with the Wombo combo. You could also rock the GMR. This one's another personal favorite of mine. I really like the GMR. It's like the only order weapon in the game that I truly enjoy. Having it with Jacobs on it, super, super nice. Highly, highly recommend this one. You could also rock the tried and true Hot Slugger if you want. You can go with a Bonnie and Clyde even. There's a lot of good Jacobs weapons that you can rock with this. Bring out the Hellwalker if you want to. That thing's gonna cook this boss as well. Now let's move to the rest of the gear here, where we're gonna start in the rep kit as usual. Triple bypass. No reason to use anything else, honestly, especially now that we can pop now with caffeine with this. If for some reason your action skill runs out, just 3 of these and you're good to go. Ideally, if you're looking for a specific one to go, I like Enrage, although it does deal more damage to you, but it increases your damage by 30%. Obviously, Amp is another great one to go for. For the ordnance, you can kind of run whatever, to be honest. I just have this booming, maiming throwing knife on with damage amp payload and suppressor augment. I like suppressor augment just to make those enemies deal 25% less damage to us, and then they also take 15% more damage with the damage amp payload. So feel free to rock that one if you like. For the class mod, obviously we talked about this earlier. We're going with the Dancer. The higher points into Temerario, the better. You definitely want to have one into Soltado as well. And then that last point going into the Thrill is just a nice added bonus. But if you go with like a 4 into Temerario, still going to do well. Moving on to the Shield, Watts for dinner. You have a roll like this with the Siphon and the Amp, you're in luck. That's a great one to go with. I mean, you can't go wrong with this one. Got to give a huge shout out to my boy Tempest in chat for giving me this. I mean, this is the absolute pinnacle of shields. I could not be happier now that I have this in my inventory and on my character. Feels good to have it. I farmed for way too long for one of these and never got it. Shout out to my boy Tempest for this one. And then for the enhancement, if you're rocking the Daedalus Torg Sticky like I have, obviously a Torg enhancement's going to do well. You can also run a Jacobs one if you've been lucky enough to get one. I've only seen one in my entire time playing this game, so I'm just going with the Torg one. Like I said, you can rock the Jacobs one as well if you want. It definitely plays more into the build with Jacobs, but the Torg just does more flat out damage, so it's pick and choose between those two. I don't know why I keep doing this, because I've done it 3 times today in saying, like, you know, pick, choose, but everyone's like 6, 7. Sorry. Anyways, I don't know why I went on that tangent. Anyways, let's move on to the firmware, which, by the way, it's super simple. We're going 3 into Deadeye for gun accuracy, gun crit damage, and then crit damage stacking. And then we're going to go bullets to spare for a little bit more fire rate, and then increase to our gun magazine size. If you want to take out one of the Deadeyes and put it into bullets to spare, that's also not a bad choice. Increasing the fire rate's never a bad thing in this game. All right, let's move on to the final part of the build, the specializations, where we're going to go 20 into sharpshooter so we can get 1 shot, 1 kill. We're going to put 10 into runner because I like to use bullet train with this so I can just sprint around and then also deal more gun damage the faster we move. Obviously, we don't have any perks that give us more movement speed, but overdrive in itself, we move faster in it anyways, so just having this is nice. And I like to hip fire while sprinting. And then finally, just put the rest of your points into Daredevil so we can grab now with caffeine, and then I am a gun. All right, let me show you just how awesome this build is. I mean, look at this. This is insane. All right, Bullet Buddy Deluxe. Let me just spam this into his head real quick. With my enhancement, I'm dealing like 20k just off the damage alone. And then we can just watch this shoot up. I mean, 1.6 mil for an explosion. That is, I believe, 100 million. Yeah, there's 100 million for you right there. Nice and spicy. You're going to be killing any boss in the game with this. I mean, to be honest, you could just straight up run only this weapon and be a-okay with this build. Like, this is just, it's the juice. So, yeah, right there. Ended at 1.144 million damage. So, unless Bloomreaper has 200 million or a billion HP, which... I mean, maybe I could see 100 mil for the health pool, but again, we don't really know. Who knows what his health pool will be until we actually see it. Unless it's skyrocketed compared to every other boss in the game, we're going to be cooking him with this build. So if you guys like the build, be sure, drop a like to the channel, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It helps me out a ton, and I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, if you guys want to come hang out while we test these builds and try things out, come on over to Twitch, where we stream Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Central. I hope to see you guys in chat one day. Yesterday I asked, or not yesterday, whatever my last video was, I asked what your favorite ice cream flavor it is. Now I need to know, does pineapple belong on pizza? Because the answer is yes. If you say anything else, you're wrong. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. Like and follow every other thing that is social media related. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time of day it may be. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!